So next up, we have Dr. Gesa. Dr. Gesa leads the strategic innovation on the executive board of HafenCity. This ongoing 157 hectare smart city development will be Europe's largest inner city development project and act as a blueprint for the new European city on the waterfront, increasing Hamburg's new downtown area by 40% over the next 25 years. An urban planner by qualification, Dr. Gesa has worked as a research associate in Hamburg University of Technology's Institute for Transport Planning and Logistics and the Institute for Social Ecological Research in Frankfurt, and a specialist at Hamburg's Ministry of Transport. Through her eyes, we will examine what HafenCity is building and planning to achieve by best practice sharing, international collaborations, and partnerships to achieve the smart city and mobility ambition. Dr. Gesa, over to you.
Okay, thank you very much for the introduction. I hope you can hear me. Just a little correction, I'm a member of the extended management team, not the executive board, but no problem. Anyway, thank you very much for the invitation to speak here. As time is short, I would like to go into the subject immediately, which is smart mobility in HafenCity Hamburg. The HafenCity of Hamburg is an urban development company and a subsidiary of the city of Hamburg. Please, next slide. We are right now working on 4 great urban development projects, 3 of them. Here you see them in blue, orange, and yellow. Something didn't work there on the slide anyway. On 3 projects in the inner city and 1 in the west of Hamburg, which you see here in red. Today I'll be talking about the eastern part of the HafenCity, which is the blue marked part here, but I think something didn't work with the picture anyway. But to give a small orientation, the district is at maximum 3 kilometers away from the Hamburg City Hall. In the middle of the picture, you see the big lake, the Alster of Hamburg. So it's really central and inner city. And yeah, perhaps you take the next slide. This is a view on this quarter. I marked on the past slide in blue, which is really in the inner city, but in former harbor districts. And you see here in purple, I apologize, it's a German slide, in purple, those are the buildings which are already built. The red ones are in construction, so we are really talking about a real build project and not only about concepts or plans. At the final stage, there will be about 4,000 apartments and workplaces for about 15,000 employees in this district. And here you see as well, there's the subway at the eastern part and the subway at the western part. So it's real, there's a real good public transport system nearby. Next, please. So in this session, I will present you the smart mobility concept of this part of the HafenCity. So first of all, let me present the key objectives to you. We want to create attractive, or when we started, we wanted to create attractive public space, which means there must be moving space or space to move and safety for users of the public space, especially those who walk or who cycle or who play. There has to be comfort for active mobility, and we wanted to have low local emissions in the quarter, such as noise and air pollution. Next, please. We wanted to have low additional load on the surrounding road infrastructure. You saw it's a quarter right very close to the harbor, and there's a high load of traffic on those roads, so it's nearly not possible to put any more on them. So we didn't want to have more additional load on the road infrastructure, and we wanted to support the already existing subway. We are really glad that we have already this subway, which is built before the houses, or which was already built before the first houses were constructed there. And this is a really good thing to change or to adapt to the new place of living for those who live there. And so we didn't want to create more competition to the subway by building, for example, an infrastructure very well for cars. Next, please. We wanted also to save space through efficient use of the local vehicle fleet. So this the effect is that we can reduce the construction costs. And from point of view today, when you are talking about the climate gases of concrete and the resources and so on, it's also a reduction of climate costs when you don't have to build so much parking spaces, for example. And last but not least, we wanted to support the mobility transition of the city of Hamburg. Next, please. So how did we want to do this? First of all, we built a city of short distances that invites to walking and cycling. And this is, first of all, not really a transport subject, but a subject of how to put local amenities into the buildings, shops and services, so that you don't really have to leave the quarter to fulfill your daily needs. You have short ways, you can walk, and yeah, you have everything right nearby. Next, please. We put many and comfortable bicycle parking spaces in into the basements. Next, please. We have a very good access to public transport and sharing systems. I already told about the subway, but also we have bus stops and we have bike sharing systems. Next, please. We introduced a neighborhood-wide car sharing system. Next, please. And a cross-building underground parking access system, and I will talk about these two in a minute. Next, please. At least 40% of all parking spaces are equipped with a charging point, all are pre-equipped, and we use the solar power from the roofs for the consumption of the e-cars. Next, please. And to create a decent demand for all these offers, we dimensioned the parking space sparingly, which I already told on the slides before. But we have only 0.4 parking spaces per residential unit, and 30% of those are car sharing spaces. So next, please. Now I want to go into detail for this car sharing solution. Why did we want to put car sharing, or wanted to forward stationary car sharing system here? First of all, we can locate it in the basements, so we don't want parking space in the public space. And if you remember what in the first presentation you saw mobility offers like Moja. So in 30 years time, perhaps you don't want to have any parking vehicles in the public space because you have on-demand services and you don't need to park any cars. So this is also a view how this can develop in future times. So anyway, today we focus on station-based car sharing. This has a high impact on the private car ownership because those car sharing vehicles can replace several private cars. It is most similar system to private car use, and it enables a wide variety of vehicles which can be offered for different trips and purposes and different household types. So this system allows, for example, to have very small cars or very big cars, depending on what you need. We have also free floating car sharing as a supplement. Next, please. So this is our car sharing system, this Cambio. It's called Cambio. This is a really big company. They have, I think in Germany, 3,400 cars in total, so they know very well what they are doing regarding car sharing, and we are quite glad that we have this provider of car sharing in our quarter. Next, please. The virtual underground car park is a very important condition for this car sharing concept, because central for the inhabitants to use car sharing is that it's a reliable system, and it's not reliable if you come into the garage and there's no vehicle left. So in our quarter, if this is the case in your garage, all vehicles are already taken by other people, you can just go to the neighbor garage and look there. Well, you do this virtually, of course, but you can go to the neighbor or the next neighbor, and you surely will find a vehicle. And so the system becomes more reliable compared to a system which is only located in your private garage. This had several requirements for the access system of the garages. It had to be a uniform system in all buildings. The access had to be managed, and there were also security subjects, but this was quite part of the innovation to create this virtual underground car park. Next, please. Here again, just another view on this sparingly dimensioned parking space. On the right-hand side, you see different projects or other projects in Germany, how they have the key, well, how many parking spaces per apartment unit they have. And you see here, right in the left marked yellow, this is the HafenCity. We have really not many parking spaces in our concept. Well, yeah, and we hope, and we will evaluate this, that this has an impact of the car ownership of the residents, and also an impact on the choice of transport mode for those who come into the quarter, or the commuters, for example. Next, please. I don't want to go into detail of this complicated slide, but I wanted just to highlight this new mobility coordination company in the middle, because for this quarter, this car sharing system in the quarter and the virtual garage and things like that, you need a central contact for those who live in the quarter and those who offer transport systems in the quarter. So we created this coordination company in order to manage all questions regarding mobility in the quarter. So next, please. Thank you very much. This is in a nutshell our concept, mobility concept, and I'm looking forward to questions.
Thank you very much, Dr. Gesa. 0.4 parking space per residential unit and 30% car sharing space. Absolutely stark indeed. And this resonates with the presentation by Sasha earlier on multimodal transportation. Absolutely interesting to hear the statistics that you have just brought up with regards to the development of HafenCity.